Hello YouTube and welcome back to another alternate history video. And today I got the 2008 presidential election. This time I got it between Obama still as a Democratic nominee, but this time I got it against Republican Mitt Romney, who was the nominee in 2012, of course. And he did run in '08 as well, but of course the nomination went to John McCain that year. But like I said, in this scenario, as if Romney did get the nomination in '08. Now, of course, has been highlighted many times, talked about. '08, of course, was President Bush's term was coming to an end, a second term, and got unpopular due to the unpopular Iraq war that dragged on that started in '03. And then, of course, the recession hit in 2008, uh, financial collapse, the housing market, and the bubble popping. And it caused a financial meltdown throughout the summer and fall of 2008. And so Obama was able to get, I guess, a modern day landslide victory because of it. And then McCain was kind of seen as a weak candidate too for the Republican base. They couldn't really get the base out they needed to win states, like a lot of the rural base didn't really like him as much. And it showed in a lot of states that traditionally were Republican, but likely to save margin, states like Indiana and Missouri, which has been pretty likely to lean, ended up being very close, and Indiana went to Obama by a little over 1 point. And states like North Carolina flipped for him. Uh, yeah, and Iowa and Ohio, although they have been swing states for some time, but a lot of those states that were usually close or weren't close at all ended up going for Obama because of the unpopularity of George W. Bush, and then McCain getting his base out like he needed to, and that's partly why he picked Sarah Palin as a running mate so he could help get more of the Republican base energized. But obviously, it's a bad year for Republicans with the recession hitting and Bush's unpopularity. So, like I said, definitely helped Obama to a victory. But in this scenario, as I said, I got Mitt Romney as the nominee if he won the nomination. And I got Mike Huckabee, who's the governor of Arkansas at the time. I got him as his running mate. I'm not sure if Romney would have picked Huckabee, but possibly he could have picked somebody like McCain but I think Romney would have gone with somebody like Huckabee because I think it would have been like McCain picking Palin. He wanted to get somebody who can energize the Republican base more and uh, energize evangelicals, who Huckabee was popular with, being one himself. And so I think Romney would have gone with somebody like Huckabee, who also ran for the nomination that year. So anyway, getting into this, I'm going to start out with some safe states like California, Oregon, Washington. I think would have been solid, as they definitely shifted left. And the state of Hawaii, Obama's birth state, his home state of Illinois, New York, Vermont, Massachusetts, which was actually Romney's home state at the time, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware. I believe these states would have been pretty safe considering the circumstances in 2008, Maryland and D.C. Some Romney states, however, would be Utah. A lot of Mormons there would have definitely gone for Romney like they did in 2012, as well as Wyoming, Idaho. State of Alaska, thinks so, have been pretty safe. I maybe could see it being likely because it usually tends to be an anti-incumbent state. The Bush's unpopularity, I could see it maybe getting downgraded to likely since Palin would be on the ticket, but still a Romney win nonetheless. I think Nebraska would definitely go for him at large. The first district, I think, would be pretty likely safe, and the third district safe for him. Second, I'll come back to. Kansas thing would be pretty safe still. Oklahoma, Texas, I could see being still kind of safe because it was for Romney and McCain when they won it. So I think it'd be about the same margin that Romney won about in 2012. The Dakotas up here were actually under 10, which made them likely margins. But with it being Romney, I could see him being pretty safe though, since he would be a little stronger than McCain. But just right on the safe margin, I would think. A state like Arkansas would be safe for Romney, especially having Huckabee on the ticket. Louisiana, I could see it being pretty likely to safe. Mississippi could be pretty likely though still because Obama could spike black turnout like he did in our timeline and Baton Rouge and different African American populations throughout the state, but still a Romney win because of the rural areas. Alabama, a safe margin, as well as Kentucky, Tennessee, South Carolina would be pretty likely because of black turnout like in Charleston, and but still a Romney win because of the rural base and evangelicals in the state. I think that's about all the safe for Romney. Now some likely states I think would be Arizona, McCain's home state. And they go likely for Romney in 2012, so I see it staying that way. See if there's any more likelies. I think Georgia could say likely because it was, I think, a 5-point margin win for McCain. And I believe Romney won about like 8 or 9 points in the 2012 scenario, so I think that would say likely for Romney. Some likely Obama states I think would be the state of Nevada because of his performance in Clark County and Washoe. He definitely turned out support there, especially with minorities like Latinos in the state. And with it being the recession year, I believe it would be pretty likely for Obama in this scenario. I believe he won about 12 points, if I'm not mistaken. But I think it was only around 6 against Romney in 2012. So I think it would be pretty likely for him against Romney in this scenario. Minnesota, I think, would be pretty likely for Obama because of Minneapolis and the Iron Range, places up here that are strongholds for Democrats. The state of Colorado, I think it would be pretty likely, or I could see it being bumped down the lane because it was in 2012. By this being 2008, I think it could stay likely, but I could easily see it being put down the lane, but I think I'll put it likely. New Mexico, I think would be pretty likely to safe, as it was in 08 for Obama and against Romney in 2012. Montana up here, I believe, would stick with Romney in a lean to likely margin. It was only about 2 points for McCain, but I could see Romney improving some since he did in 2012, and I would still put in the lean margin, though, because it would be in 2008. Wisconsin up here, I believe, is going to be likely for Obama because of recession and his working class support. Michigan, I could see actually being safe because I believe it was a 16-point margin win. Definitely a significant win for Obama in that state in 2008 because of the financial collapse in the auto industry hurting. I believe it would be solid for Obama. A state like Iowa, I can maybe see getting a little closer than it was because Huckabee is on the ticket and he did win the Iowa caucuses, I believe, in 2008. Didn't go with evangelicals in the state and in the rural areas. But with Iowa and the swing states status back then and going for Obama in our timeline, I believe it would still go for him here. I could still see it being a likely margin. I believe it was 9 points, won about against McCain. I could see, like I said, maybe Romney doing a few points better because he has Huckabee as running mate, but still a likely margin nonetheless, probably around 5 to 7 or 8 points or so for Obama, a win. Missouri here was a narrow one won by McCain, definitely closer than expected. And I think it could still be pretty close here, but I'm going to have to go with Romney since McCain did win it. I'll put it in the lean margin. A state like Pennsylvania was, I believe, a 10-point win. Definitely not contested in the year of 08, so I think I would say pretty likely for Obama. Because, like I said, the financial meltdown and recession that took place. West Virginia, I kind of forgot about, but I'll give that to Romney in the safe margin. These remaining ones, Indiana was a state that, like I said, went for Obama. It was only about a little over 1 point, though. A state that was definitely one that was closer than I expected. Because, of course, in 2004, I believe it was at least a 20-point win that Bush got in the state. But like I said, flipped to Obama in 2008 by a little over a point. Because McCain was definitely seen not really good of a candidate for some of the rural areas in the state that went for Bush 4 years prior, and then Obama doing good like in college towns, doing good in Indianapolis, spiking out turnout there. But since Romney was able to win in 2012, I could see him pulling out here, maybe on a lean to tilt margin. I'll give it to him lean, but I could honestly say being bumped down the tilt since Obama did win it, but I think since Romney's on the ticket that he'd pull it out, so I'll put it in a lean margin. Uh, Maine up here, I believe it's pretty likely for Obama. The first district would be safe, and I think the second would be pretty likely. Not much competition there. Obama doing well with independents in the state and college educated would hand him the solid victory there. New Hampshire here was another likely state for Obama in our timeline, so I think I would say that way since Romney didn't win in 2012. It was only, I believe, a 5-point win for Obama in the actual 2012 scenario, but I think it could be something close to that in this scenario, but probably a little better, though, around the same margin we went about in our actual timeline. But moving on to these final 3 states, Ohio, well, 4 actually, Virginia, North Carolina, and Florida. The state of Ohio did go for Obama. I'm going to check on the exact margin. I want to say it was around like 4 points. Well, let's check to make sure. But it wasn't an Obama win nonetheless because they did do good in northeastern Ohio, which has a lot of industrial workers in the northern part too, up here. But yeah, they definitely had some strength there in this northeastern area, which was a Democratic stronghold for a lot of years, but started shifting Republican around 2016 when Trump won it. But in this 08 scenario, like I was saying, it was a 4-point win for Obama. So I think I would say that way. As a recession, like I said, doing good in northeastern Ohio and northern Ohio, and doing good in some southern counties, as you see there. So moving on to Virginia here, I think this one will be pretty close because it was in 2012 when Obama won about, I think it was 3 points, almost 4 points, won about against Romney. And however, Obama won about 6 in 2008. But I could see that being cut in half because of Romney doing good in the Nova suburbs. But with the Nova suburbs voting for Obama, I think it would stay with them in a lean margin. I could see it being something close to the 2012 margin, possibly, at least 3 to 5. North Carolina, a state won by Obama in this year of 08. It, however, went for Romney 4 years later by 2 points. I could see Romney flipping it since he won in 2012, but with this being 08, I could see Obama still squeaking it out because he did spike a lot of black turnout in Raleigh and Charlotte. And that definitely helped him win this in a narrow contest, though, against McCain. And I think this one is definitely a toss-up, but if I had to go with my gut, I think Obama could still pull it out in a squeaker because I'm spiking black turnout, like I said, in Raleigh and Charlotte. But then again, I could see it going for Romney because, like I say, they won in 2012. But I just kind of have this feeling he could pull it out in this scenario because of black turnout spiking. But that one's definitely a toss-up. And now moving on to the last state of Florida, which has usually always been close no matter what. And I believe it was at least a 2-point win in the actual matchup. And sure enough, it was. Of course, McCain did well in traditional Republican areas of the state, but Obama definitely did go like in the I-4 corridor and won counties like Jacksonville and Orlando, counties that were actually won by Bush in 04, which gave him a 5-point win in the state. But Obama was able to pull this out by a couple of points because, like I said, doing good in Central Florida, I-4 corridor, and doing good in the southern part like Miami-Dade, doing well with minority voters. And like I said, winning places like Orlando and Jacksonville that helped him get the victory that, like I said, places that went to Bush 4 years prior. So I think for that reason he would still pull out Florida. But I could kind of say again a little closer, maybe a point or so, a little less, because it was about like that in 2012 against Romney. But still an Obama win because of it being 08. And so here's the final map. Obama wins 353 to Romney and Huckabee's 184. So this is about the exact 08 map still, but except with like Indiana. I believe that's the only state that I gave to Romney. that didn't go for McCain. So, like I said, just like the actual scenario, just with Indiana flipped to Romney, because then went in 2012 and having better rural area support. But anyway, just leave your thoughts below on this, and I thank you for watching. Subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you next time.